but for me, gives it some culture. Hey guys, Kevin, your budget travel guy here, and today we're going to show you a Class B, which is essentially a large cargo van that was professionally converted. Let you kind of see the difference between that and minivans and regular cargo vans. So let's get to it. There are several companies that do these Class B conversions. This one happens to be a Roadtrek, which is probably the most popular. There's also a company called Pleasureway. These things are converted out of Canada. This is an older one. It is a 1993. You see a little bit of surface rust. Biggest problem this one had is what a lot of these 90s era vehicles had, which was peeling paint. And these really ugly faded pinstripes. Now, I bought the stuff to begin taking these stripes off. That alone will make this look 100% better, and then we can either touch this up, we can put some vinyl graphics over it. There's all kinds of different things we can do to make this a better looking van. Out of the 90s, you are pretty much going to find these. They are going to be either built on Dodges or built on Chevrolets. In the 2000s, they got into doing some other ones that were Mercedes when they took over the Chrysler Dodge stuff. And I believe they've even done a few Fords since then. But if you're on a budget, you're probably going to be looking at this, you know, probably 2005 on back. But inside is where these really shine. Because you have a regular cargo van front, and you basically have everything you would have in an RV compacted down inside of here. Now, options on these things, some of them have a big slide out awning on the outside. That was not important to me. This one didn't have one. What was important to me was this one had the built-in generator. And under this bed is a big power converter that switches from charging your secondary batteries when you're driving down the road. It'll charge your secondary batteries from that, and it will charge your secondary batteries and allow you to run stuff if you are plugged into electricity at a campground. This one is 30 amp. If you're just running at a house, you can get a little converter, convert it down to 15 amps. And you have basically a house air conditioner in here. In addition to that, you have an overhead fan. That can be run when you don't quite need the air conditioner. Now, this being 25, 26 years old at the time I bought it, that generator only had about 300 hours on it. So you're talking 12 hours of use a year. This van has about 105,000 miles on it. Again, not a lot of use per year. And most people that bought these things, of course, they're taking it, they're driving it down the highway, they're going into a campground, they're paying $30, $50, whatever per night in order to hook up. So things like generators generally just don't get a lot of use on these things unless you're the kind of person that does what I do and you go out west where there aren't hookups and you're kind of on your own for a while. You have some big storage compartments on either side. You have a fan for your kitchen. You have a 2-burner propane stove. You have storage underneath. You have a sink. You have a home microwave. This microwave will run off the generator or it will run if you're plugged in. That's the only time it will run. Same thing with your big air conditioner. You either have to be plugged into electricity or you have to have the generator. Your other appliances can run off of battery, your secondary battery, so you have a water pump going to the sink. Of course, you have propane there. You have water going to the toilet. This opens up, gives you a way to have privacy from the back of the unit. This door opens up, gives you a way to have privacy from the front of the unit. You have a toilet that flushes it, that runs water into it, and you have some additional clothing storage. You have a fair amount of height in here and the ability to stand up. And the reason for that is, one, this is a high top van. Number two, in the center, the floor is actually dropped, which is why you have so much space. Underneath here, you have everything, just smaller versions that you would have in an RV. You have a freshwater tank. You have a gray water tank for your kitchen stuff. You have a black water tank for your bathroom. Some of these also have a shower that swings out here in the center and a drain in the floor. This one does not have that. I added a shower to this. There's a separate video on how I did that. Back towards the front, you have more storage again. Big slide out compartment here, perfect for big maps, what have you. You have the bed for two in the back. You can also flip these seats around, and you'll notice me sitting in that seat often when I'm filming videos at night. But that seat with this seat will fold down and make a bed. So it actually makes a bed on this side, and it would make a bed on this side if I did not have this big refrigerator or cooler in the way. Now, this model does have a built-in refrigerator. The built-in refrigerator does work. And like they do in all of these, they work, but they don't work that great, especially if you get into hot climates. So I just use that for dry food storage, along with the storage that's up here, and here, and down here. A couple of pull-out drawers that lock into place. On this particular model, you have your batteries under the seat compartment. On some models, they are back under the bed. You have a propane heater in this with a thermostat that's on the wall. And this is your little basic control box. Shows your battery level state right now. Shows how each tank is doing. On-off button for the water heater, which is run off of propane also. Now, regardless of brand, Class Bs are going to be set up pretty much the same way. Pleasureways have their beds in the middle. I didn't really like that system. That's why I went looking for a Roadtrek. I wanted the bed to be in the back, be able to shut it off with that panel. You know, if you have guests over, the weather's bad, you're playing cards, you just have a friend in because it's raining and you're sitting here shooting the bull, what have you. A couple of more things real quick. And these are those personal preference type things. If you notice, there's a place here in the floor, and that is to put a table. This comes with a big wooden table. It will sit here and allow 1, 2, 3, 4 people to eat. You also have the same setup back here. This bed will fold up on each side, make a little couch on each side that would seat 2 adults, probably 3 to 4 kids, And in the middle, there is room to put another big table on there in order to play cards or serve dinner or what have you. That back door will completely open up if you want it to. Windows on these all have screens. They will pop out. You can zip these back down, keep the bugs out. So there's a lot of nice features to this. Now, as for the tables, I put them in storage, both of them. They were just too much of a hassle for me to have to put down, take up, extra pieces to have to carry. I just didn't see the need for it. I like to keep the bed made up all the time. You know, I don't want to have to put it up, take it down every single day when I'm out on the road. Same thing with breaking all of this down for a table up here. Quite honestly, there's room to set stuff, especially after I put this big fridge cooler in up front. That basically serves as our table. You know. And we're going to be places a lot of times with outside where there's picnic tables and stuff, so we're covered. It's not a big deal, at least in the way I like to do things. If you like the tables, keep the tables. Now, as for the little bit of surface rust, I'll get it taken care of this fall. Get these ugly stripes off here. The peeling paint isn't that big a deal either. There's things I can do with, you know, some sheets of vinyl, some vinyl graphics, you know, just sand it down and lay some more paint and clear coat over top of it so it can be handled. A lot of people have to have every single thing perfect. I don't. I do like to have things be halfway nice. I do want to blend in when I'm traveling. I don't want to roll in there with something with parts falling off of it, and you know that makes me look like I'm a really bad guy maybe. But having a few scratches and scrapes and a little rust spot, it doesn't bother me in the least, because I'm not just running from campground to campground. I'm doing a lot of exploring. I'm headed down side roads, and tree branches are hitting things. You know, rocks are coming up and hitting things. I'm going to do some damage. I'm going to get some scrapes and bumps and knock some mirrors off. And that's just the way I travel. So I really don't need the newest perfect van. So again, that's a personal preference. It depends on your way of traveling. But for me, gives it some culture. Now we're up to the big question, which is, if I have something like this, with all of these luxuries, why do I spend 2/3 of my time running around the country in a minivan, a converted minivan? Well, there's pros and cons to everything, and there are trade-offs to everything. And so this video doesn't run too long. We have another video coming that's going to discuss those pros and cons and trade-offs between a converted cargo van with all the luxuries compared to running around in a minivan or an SUV or other things that people use to camp in. So that video will be coming soon, and we'll see you next time.